Welcome back to the channel. I'm HomeGym Harry. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any content. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a company you probably have never heard of. And they make some awesome custom bars right here in the USA and Texas. All right, so Belle Mere Fitness is a brand that I stumbled upon while looking for a multi-grip cable attachment. I wanted something like the Cleva and Rogue ones. Wanted to see if there was a company here in the USA that made them handmade here. So they're pretty new to the game, but they're blowing up because they make some awesome stuff. Right here I have the Camber Bar. This is actually a custom one that I had them made. They had an extra handles here. Everything's angled and included some long sleeves as well. I mainly wanted something that I could use as a cable attachment, but as you can see throughout the video, I used this one as a regular camber bar, like the Rep Swiss bar, something that you'd use like that, and it performs pretty well across those different uses. So the ordering process, pretty simple. They have some pre-designed bars on their website that you can go ahead and choose. Comes in several different colors, everything from the Viper green I have here, that's sort of their specialty, sort of red, sort of what I would typically order, but I wanted to go with their, I wanted to go with their green. So I was excited to get that in. They have yellow, tan, anything you could, the purple looks awesome as well, blue. So I'll throw up the colors here, but really everything comes out beautifully powder coated. They do a really nice job here. I'm very happy with the coloring and how this bar turned out. But it is a little confusing to order if you don't see the exact configuration you want. So feel free to just email them. They're super nice. I've really enjoyed working with them. They got this bar perfect for me. Really happy with how it came out. So if you can click through and find the exact bar that you want, great. If not, they'll be happy to help you out. And so what I did, I wanted the shorty bar because I wanted it as a cable attachment. So it's a little bit shorter than what you would typically find in a rackable Swiss bar. I wanted all angled handles, and I wanted an extra one here. I wanted 4 on each side, so you can go really close or wide, something that wasn't available on their website, but they went up and made for me, which was really nice of them. They sent me this bar for free, but as you'll see, this review be authentic in the feedback that I give. Overall though, I think very solid bar. So I went with the green. As you can see, I went with all angled handles. They're all hand welded here in the US. And with the cable attachment here, you can see there's one on the outside there. And then I went with the smaller handles, the 26mm handles, because I wanted it for pulling movements and didn't want to lose grip on it. I also did the powder coated grips here. They can do knurling. The ones that I looked at when they sent them to me to see what I wanted to get looked a little bit passive, so I didn't want to go for that. I think they're working on making some more aggressive knurling, so definitely reach out if you're interested in a knurled one. I'm very happy with the powder coated one. It's nice and grippy, goes well with the bar, and as you can see has worn pretty well over the short time that I've had it so far. You can choose different lengths of sleeves. Depending on what size bar you get, you may need different lengths to make it rackable, or if you don't want it rackable, just various options. It comes with 2 sets of collars. These are the inside collars that you hand screw on, and they sort of act as the inside stoppers. If you want to have welded inside collars, they will do that for you. And actually, I think they said it would be, cheaper and easier for them to do. So if you're interested in that, definitely reach out so you don't have to, dial these in perfectly and figure out where you want to screw them on. So they'll have them already set for you. You won't have to worry about it. It comes with these outside collars as well. They're sort of plastic, cheap ones. They work pretty well for holding the plates on. I personally like the open style collar of the Eleiko ones. Unfortunately, the Eleiko ones don't fit on the axle sleeve diameter that you have with this bar. So I ended up using the Kepi collars, which despite having this similar design to the Eleiko ones, actually snap and hold on to an axle bar sleeve, which is slightly smaller than the Olympic one. But you can choose between 1-inch or 2-inch sleeves. I went obviously with the 2-inch ones because I have Olympic style plates, but if you only have pig iron or the 1-inch plates, you can definitely have those sleeves made. So when it came, it arrived in a box. Everything was individually wrapped. and taped together so that I wouldn't move around within the box. Came very nice. The only thing that was sticking out was the cable attachment point here. You can see it got a little bit scuffed up, but I'm not too worried about that because the carabiner is going to go on there and it's going to, over time wear off the powder coat from rubbing there anyway. So overall it came, pretty much perfect. Can't really complain about that. It came disassembled, so you will have to put it together. Each of the sleeves has 4 screws that directly bolt onto the ends of each bar. There is a threaded nut basically already welded into here, so you only have to worry about screwing in one side, which really appreciated. Saves time and makes it really easy to add these on. And then at the end of that, you put one sort of bigger bolt down the center of the sleeve. So there's 5 bolts keeping it on the end. So if you're deciding between, the different configurations, think about whether you want it primarily as a cable attachment or a rackable Swiss bar or cambered bar, because you're probably not going to go switch between the two and taking off the sleeves. I went with the shorty cambered bar with extra long sleeves because this is a short one, so I can get it rackable and add a bunch of plates on it. They also do have a flat version, although I think the real advantage is having a camber, so for any exercise you want to do, you can get that extra range of motion. But they do have a flat bar option if that's what you're interested in. So because I wanted this bar mainly as a multi-grip cable attachment, I went with the cambered design and I went with all angled handles. I figured because you can do a supinated or pronated grip with the angled handles versus a neutral, you only have one grip really. It added a little bit more versatility in that regard. So went with a shorter bar, the angled one, thinner handles, so it's much easier for pulling exercises that you would do on a cable machine. But I have done everything that you could possibly do with the sleeves on, with the sleeves off, with this bar, and I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a really versatile and, honestly, pretty affordable bar for everything that it does. So once the sleeves are on, I've used it from everything from overhead press, where because of the camber design, you can really get that extra range of motion. I've used it for bent over rows, same idea there. It really wraps around your chest when you're doing rows, so you can get extra range of motion and really pull your arms backwards. And I've done everything from hammer curls to tricep extension. I think it performs really well along those aspects. Because the side rails are so wide, when you grip it and do things like triceps or biceps, it feels nice in the outside areas of your hand that's touching those. So you feel some extra security as opposed to, a much thinner bar where you wouldn't get that. If I was to get the bar primarily for bench pressing and doing overhead press and things like that, I'd probably get a little bit of a thicker diameter grips because it's a little bit more comfortable for pushing exercise. However, I wanted it mainly for pulling exercise with cable machines, so I went with the smaller one. But, just depending on what you're going to use it for, think about what size grips you want to do. Now, once I took the sleeves off, I wanted to try it as a cable attachment. It is pretty heavy as a cable attachment. This is just over 20 pounds as the shorty bar. Keep in mind, it does have a set of extra handles as opposed to what the standard one does. But I really would recommend getting the extra handles while you're doing it, so you have even more handle positions there. But 20 pounds, definitely not light. So as you're hooking it up to things and maybe don't have the weight selector engaged, it has the chance to fall on your head. So just be mindful of that because it is heavy. But once you have it hooked up, I find it an incredibly comfortable bar to use. It's not wobbly at all. It's not too wide, as those were some of the complaints with the original Rogue multi-grip bar, where it was a little bit too wide and felt unstable. This, I don't have that experience at all. It feels really comfortable. It's not unstable. When I hooked it up to the cable machine, you can attach it here at the center. But I found because it has these holes on the end where the sleeves mount on, you can actually attach carabiners or mounting points on either side. And so depending on what your setup is as a cable machine, you can have 2 attachment points on either side, or you can use a single one in the middle, which really increases the versatility of this bar. I think it's really smart for them to have that design sort of integrated into the bar already. But really liked it for rowing exercises. You can do both the supinated and the pronated grip just by flipping over the bar. For lap holdings, I found it incredibly comfortable and really liked it. You just have to watch your head a little bit once you turn the weight off. But overall, I mean, really like the bar. I think it's a beautiful design. The color is amazing. And the company is owned and operated in the US, and they make the bars by hand in Texas. Everything is hand welded, hand put together. I think the quality is really amazing. Now, the downsides to the bar, relative to some of the other bars, I mean, it's a lot cheaper, but you are paying a little bit of a premium for getting a multi-grip bar, but that's no different than other sort of multi-grip bar or cable attachment you would want to get. But just think about, do you sort of need this style of bar? I found, I've been using it and integrating it into my training. For bench press, I typically use the Rep Swiss bar and have loved the versatility of that multi-grip bar. So I think there is a place for multi-grip bar in the home gym, but you do have to spend a little bit more sometimes to get that sort of specialty bar. You're getting a handmade bar. But this is not really going to price gouge you, pretty reasonable, and I don't think you're paying too much for what it is. It's a great bar. Now the sleeves, they are painted in this beautiful black. As you can see, there's some scarring and damage to it just from loading and unloading plates, so they won't look the best they will over time as you're loading and unloading plates. So just something to think about, but it does look cool when you get out of the box. And I still think it looks pretty cool, even with the scars of having used the bar. If you have any questions about this company or the product that I have here, this again is the Shorty bar by them. Feel free to reach out, leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you. All right, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it.